Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Gallery PETRONAS. For your information, in conjunction of PETRONAS 45th anniversary on August 17, and in celebration of independence and Malaysian Days, Gallery PETRONAS is proud to organize Bersama Merentas Zaman, Melangkar Identiti Melalui Bakat dan Semangat. Now it has come to proceed on our next agenda, which is Arts Discourse, Arts Body Expression as a new arts form in Malaysia. I would like to invite Dr. Serena to lead the Art Discourse session. Please welcome.
Assalamualaikum, a very good morning to all panelists and also the audience that we have today this morning. It is still early, I think, but then of course, 11 a.m. in the morning, the malls are open, then you are all here. Thank you very much for being here with us today. So when I was asked by Encik Zahari to sort of come up with a panel on performance art in Malaysia, I have not been or exactly written anything about performance art, but it has always been like a question mark that I have in my mind, like it's an angle or an art genre which I have not, get published in a sense, okay? So it has always been a conversation, but I'm very happy that Intan has always sort of roped me in any discussions on performance art. So today when I'm sort of asked by Encik Zahari to, Dr. Serena, can you have a panel on performance art? And I'm gladly accept the invitation. So in a way, it's also a way to satisfy my own query that I have in mind. Okay, so who we have today in front of us is Dr. Langenbach. Okay. Ms. Intan, Rafiza, and also Ms. Sharon Chin. So I will give you a little bit of introduction, okay, as this is what moderators are supposed to do. So, though we already know each other, So Ray basically creates conceptual performances, convenes gatherings, documents, and writes on cultural theory, performance, and also queer culture. He has presented his work in many parts of the world. His writings on Southeast Asian performance, propaganda, and even visual culture have appeared in many journals and books, including Mediating Malaysia, Media Culture and Power in Malaysian Society, published by Routledge in 2010, Rigorous and Compassionate Listening, Dialogical Writing on Site-Specific Art, also published in 2010. Hidden Things, a work by Lim Sei Chuan, Contesting Performance, Imaging Sites of Research. Also histories, practices, interventions, a reader in Singapore contemporary art that's recently published in 2016. Of course, part of his work also republished in Narrative Simulation Art Volume 2. So basically his video archives of Southeast Asian performance currently resides at Asia Art Archive Hong Kong and also at International Institutes for Society History in Amsterdam, Singapore Art Museum, National Gallery of Singapore, and also at Fukuoka Museum. Formerly, he was a professor of life art and performance studies at University of Arts Helsinki. Now he serves as the Star Foundation Professor of Research, supervising practice lab Ph.D. students in the Faculty of Creative Industries at Universiti Tunku Rahman or Utah. So we have in the middle here Ms. Intan Rafiza, Bakar. She's an artist. Here I put emphasis on the artist, and also, as we know, her daily job is a curator at Balai National, at the National Art Gallery. She has been practicing performance art locally and internationally. That includes 25th Beyond Pressure Festival at Yangon, Asiatopia, Southeast Asia Conference, various special project and art residency at Club 50 in Milan, etc. etc. That's a quite lengthy list here, actually. She actually holds a bachelor's degree of fine art at UiTM back in 2003. Okay, and we have on my right here Ms. Sharon Chin. As she writes here, she makes all kinds of things in whatever. She makes a lot of kind of things, okay. Her work has been shown at home and abroad National Art Gallery, even here in Petronas Gallery, at Singapore Art Museum, in Chon Culture and Art Center in Korea. She has had her residencies, participation in residencies, festivals, around the world at Hanoi, Yangon, Sydney, Berlin, Birmingham, Tokyo, and Sapporo. Her most recent project, and I think that's not the most recent project, I think the Tunku Kita is the most recent project, which I'm sure you will talk about this later. Okay. So we have in front of us three powerful people who are very, very active in terms of their arts engagement and connection of the way that they produce the artworks in terms of performance art. Okay. Discuss and explain, what is the difference between performance art? What is a performing art? I mean, people get confused. They think those works in the theater context are performance art. But what are those differences? I think at least the audience should know about these, differences of the things that we are going to talk about.
I guess the easiest way to say it is that one is a category that includes the other. So performing arts includes performance art in its category. Performing arts can include dance, music, and acting, theater, all forms of theater, street theater, etc. Any kind of situation where you have people performing would be performing arts. Then in that category inside performing arts, you would have performance art, which is a particular form that gradually developed during the period of the 20th century and continues now. So whereas performing arts, and the word art is very problematic because no one really knows what it means. And not to mention the word performing, and that no one really knows what that means either. But if you take perform to bring a form into being, but in a very active way. So it's the bringing of it. It's something that disappears when it's over. So it has a kind of terminal point, and then it has residue in audiences and in the public and in society. But it's an ephemeral thing, and so it may or may not include the body. It may simply be online. It may be the performance of a chip inside of a computer. That's also performing. It may be, we talk about the performance of cars. This car is good performance. It goes from 0 to 100 in a millisecond. So we talk about performance also in the corporate world. So all of these notions of performance kind of pile on to the idea of performance art and performing arts. And then art is a word that's not used in many cultures. So that kind of separation of art from other kinds of ritual, for example, religious ritual or social ritual, is something which is quite unique in some societies, and some societies don't have a word for art. Never mind for performance. I mean, I've been working in Finland the last few years, and every conference that we have, people say, well, we don't have a word in Finnish for performance. Okay, it's entirely different kind of implication for that. And so what happens in the Finnish language is you piece together other words from other contexts and to create the word for performance. So that's the case in many societies, that linguistic differences in cultures really determine how you see what you're doing and what the implications of it for the society. Does that sort of do it? So one is a category for the other. This is the short answer.
I think as we go along the discussion or presentation that we're going to have later, you will sort of like see what is performance art that we are talking about today, okay? But you mentioned the word ephemerality. I mean, that is a very popular word, and I think like in the recent arts discourse, means that, the art that is being produced, but it sort of like goes by in time, it happens at a time, so like 5 minutes after that it's gone, okay? So in a sense, performance art adheres to the kind of ephemerality, and usually it has a body, has like the notion of time and also space must be there as part of, having a performance for you to declare to have done a performance, for example. Can maybe Intan and later Sharon share with us what do you think about that term, body, time and space in terms of your practice, like in general?
Thank you, Doctor. Yeah, for me, I'm practicing performance art starting from 2004 until now, and I feel that I'm treating performance art as one of the medium in art to express ourselves. And if we talking about performance art is not a new medium, I feel that performance art is not a new medium in art, even like in our life, our societies and cultures, which is that it's not like what is the difference between performing art and performance art. And if you see back, like for the past, especially in the Malay culture, we have like Mandi Safa, we have what is the Trengganu thing, the Ulik Mayang, so the performance is not a one way that you just perform, but the audience involved with the performance. So it become, if you're talking about the body, it's not really involve the artist's body to express yourself, but when the performance art is present, it become the performance body is involved with the artwork. It would be with the event. Yeah, and for me, like in my artwork, it's many times it's involved with my root. So it will be back to like how actually my late grandmother maybe like doing in the way like performance. I feel that, and it's inspired my way of my performance. And I think like it's only for Malaysia we have to see the performance as one of the way of view in the academicians. Maybe you can talk later about this, that how we value the performance, like because if you just talking about the body and the present, because the performance it's not about become a present thing, but it can be creating other medium of work like photography, videos, art, installations and sculptures. So yeah, I think maybe that's a short understanding for me about the body expressions and performance art.
Yeah, Sharon?
Okay, thanks Intan, thanks Ray, and thanks Doctor. For me, I approached performance art in the beginning two ways. So I studied about it in university. I majored in sculpture. So I knew about performance art through art history. But when I came back to Malaysia, I sort of could not connect the dots between what I had studied and my experience of coming back home. So starting to practice performance art was really a process of getting to know people like Intan and then later on Ray. It was really connected. It's really connected to a sense of community for me. I remember before we started working together, me and Intan, or doing performance art events, I saw in Not That Balai Festival, this was in 2005, 4 or 5, that festival had performance art in it. But one of them I remember was Idora Al-Habshi, and it was just a projection of her being silent for about 16 minutes, and then just being there for 16 minutes and having the audience be there for 16 minutes. So imagine we just sit here for 16 minutes. And I remember people were very angry about that performance. Like, why did you make us sit here for 16 minutes? And I was one of the people who was angry too. I was like, whoa, what's the meaning of this? You know, because I didn't, I didn't know how to connect performance art that I had studied with what I was seeing here in the local context. And the other performance was Aisha Baharuddin. And that performance was her just performing or doing actions that she did in her everyday. Going to the toilet, brushing her teeth, just everyday actions basically, but on a heightened level. And I also didn't understand that very much. So that is one way in which I started sort of entered into performance art. And the other is, so now in terms of body and performance, I do martial arts, I do Muay Thai, and the aspect, as Intan was saying, that aspect of performance in Malaysia, in the local context, I don't think it is so easily separated from performing. It has an art history lineage, but also in the local context, there's a different meaning. Because when you do Muay Thai and you go inside the ring, it's a real fight, but you're also performing. You're performing for the entertainment of an audience. And it is as real, because people often say one of the differences between performing arts and performance arts is that performing arts is dance or theatre on a stage. And performance art is somehow you're not acting. That's one thing that people often say, you're not acting. But if we take Muay Thai, it's not acting, it's just as real, but you are performing. So that's how I understand it.